Good evening, and welcome to All Ports Motorsport SuperCars NZ. This is Doug, joined in the broadcasting lounge tonight with the one and only Corey Kitchen, not Shane White. How we going there, Corey?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I haven't had the luxury of travelling over to Bathurst, so I'm good and well today, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah, so Shane actually got back today, but he's straight back off to work tomorrow early in the morning, so he's getting his stuff all squared away for that one tonight. So we missed the end of qualifying, but we've got the qualifying results up there on screen. And we can see from the grid order, Chris Suppich qualified there first over Derek Lovegrove. Luke Bradley in third with Steve Darren there in fourth. Nico Skulls grabbed fifth over Lance Clark in sixth. Caleb Beecroft joins us again tonight. He's taken P7. Trent Bennett, and we're live racing. We are well behind the 8 ball tonight. Everything's happening at fast pace.
Silverstone this evening, Dougie, getting an older track too from the 2008 scanning. The early scanning iRacing did it of Silverstone. So it's good to see the boys out there on a different layout.
It is, yeah. So this is one of the legacy tracks now, which means that it's not often used for an official capacity.
We've got a big pile up.
Oh yeah, there was quite a few there at the back as well. We've got quite a large field tonight of races. It looks like there's about 29 cars out on track.
Yeah, there's lots happening on the data right now, Dougie.
Stacking through, isn't it?
And everybody just trying to get that first lap in and sort of settle everything out. It's only Tuesday, folks. She's already fairly exciting.
Oh, and there's another car around there on track. But up front we've got Derek Lovegrove, who's made a wee stretch from Chris Suppich over Steve Darren, who is our weekly sponsor this week. Cheers to SDI for your sponsorship.
Cheers, Steve.
And tonight, probably grateful after the way that started, with a few people bumping up and down through the grid order. We've got live race control for the first time tonight in Div 2, and that's being handled by Dion de Graaf from Simblax Racing.
Well, he's already probably being kept fairly busy, so you'll have a little bit of footage to look at that start. A few cars going off into the shingle.
Certainly was a few things happening.
So we've got two races tonight, Dougie. So the first one's 8 laps, and we followed up by a 15-lap feature.
Wow, there we go. So sort of a double up for the second one. The guys might need the extra laps to work on how to get out there and amongst it without causing chaos. As we can see, a few cars not looking too shabby. One car there of Shane Newens and Tim Rourke as he just goes off the track and into the wall there. Unlucky there, Tim.
There are already a few cars cycling through for their compulsory 4 tyres that must be taken for the race.
Yeah, we would imagine with the number of cars out there with damage at the moment, is be worthwhile going and getting that underway. With the number of cars out on track as well, you can see the 2 clusters that we've got so far, positions 1 through 7, nearly a couple of corners ahead from the next group, of 8 through to 24, and then a couple of the other ones that have cycled through the pit lane, just doing their thing. On the map there it shows which car we have highlighted on screen by illuminating it there in a nice wee yellow over the greys.
There's a Hugh Hefner sponsored car there, Stonesy.
It is. So there's that one there, and we've been told to make a special shout out in regards to Jared, and that's actually to his girlfriend Shana, who religiously watches the streams and is a massive supporter of SuperCars NZ. Yeah, so it's really cool. and that's Jared coming in, serving his pit stop there now. Very busy. So up the front, we've still got Derek leading the race by 5 seconds over Steve Darren, who's doing his utmost best to pedal that SDI. Commodore along, keeping it just ahead of Caleb Beecroft and the Allports sponsored Commodore behind him.
Caleb Beecroft is he's up, what's he up 3 spots behind him there. Dylan Radford, he's already up 15, and we've got a couple of cars up 19 spots up in here, and
Wow.
yeah, so that's some fairly good gains. I guess a few cars have come into the pits already, so
Yeah, so there's
the
Dylan's.
top 15 cars have yet to pit, so we've had at least half the field has run through pit lane.
Crikey. Yeah, so that's Dylan on screen showing up 13 grid spots. We've got Dan Turner just behind him up 17. And Jonathan Turner there also up 17 grid spots. Jono Gibson out there doing its thing. Like that livery on that Mustang there, surprisingly. Looks quite cool.
It is very cool.
Wayne Hartnell there up at 12, up 16 spots, with Thomas McCole in behind him at 13. I'm spotting at least 4 Simability cars out there in this race, and that's really wicked to see. I'm really pleased to see that.
Yeah, it's good to see the boys multiplying. I did see a nice touch on their livery with the wheelchair logo there on the back quarter panel, which I thought was pretty cool.
I'll have to try and get another look at that one later on. It's just on Chris Supperswitch there as he cycles round halfway through the race. He's already had his pit stop, so he's going by a few people here now who are in the pit lane, so he's just jumped up a few spots, now sit into P11. He's showing down from down 10 spots, so counting up from where he is, the 10 cars ahead of him that are yet to stop, he should be well and truly in the thick of it somewhere there.
Yeah, it's always good taking that early gamble, whether to pit early in the race and get the undercut, and it's always a good feeling when that pays off.
Yes, indeed. Again, with it only being a short cycle of 8 laps, it certainly wouldn't be of too much detriment by getting into pit lane to give yourself a wee bit of clear air, because you look at how scattered the racetrack is with drivers out there. It would look to be pretty hard to find, as Steve Darren is trying to defend heavily with Luke Bradley, and a touch on the side got Luke to have his car getting a little bit sideways through there. But that's about as close to Rubbings racing as what people would want to enjoy before it starts looking a little bit malicious. Nothing wrong with rubbing door panels, but we don't want to see cars getting turned around.
Yeah, so Steve playing the card of just getting out of the battle and into pit lane, get some fresh tyres on the car, and look to see how Luke comes out after his pit stop. Whether we're going to see some more battling from those two.
Yeah, and with the closing laps nearly upon us, it won't be too long before we have that one answered. So here he is, here's Chris Supperswitch now, going and cycling past a few of those drivers again that were sitting in pit lane, so he's now moved back up into spot number 7. Caleb Beecroft comes out behind him by nearly 3.5, and Steve Darren a couple of seconds after from him as well, falling back into sequence quite nicely. Daniel Johnson there in the NZ liveried Mustang, which is a custom piece that Dad Andrew put together with RSW, and I really enjoy the chrome look of these cars. It's quite striking.
It certainly makes a few cars stand out.
Not a bad looking livery. It's just a shame that Daniel was poisoned not too long ago at a family dinner on Sunday night, and had his dad utter horrid words into his head while he was comatose on the floor, saying, "Drive the Mustang, drive the Mustang, drive the Mustang."
Yeah, it's, it sounds like you've gone down an ugly path, my friend.
Hopefully that'll give this man here a wee bit of a laugh later on. Andrew follows our streams and watches them back later on and does a good job of sharing the word out of them being out there, and he claims that his son Daniel, of all of his own steam, told him that he wanted to change to the Mustang the next season, but Shane and I were heavily convinced otherwise, that there was something malicious happening on in the background. And that's where that awful, dreaded Sunday evening dinner came into play with Mum's poisoned apple pie.
It's a good story.
So there he is. So he has managed to hold on to what will effectively be P2 across Uppersitch, and he's only shy of this man here in first place currently by just under 2 seconds, Derek Lovegrove, who has also come through to complete his pit stop. With only 2 laps to go, the only person out there at the moment yet to stop is Dylan Radford. He is doing his best to try and get that car around the track, and I think there'll be a few people out there probably struggling a little bit, not so much just because it's the V8s and they're an absolute horrid thing to drive on the best of days. These old legacy tracks, that they don't get the same type of love and refreshments moving forward as what some of the newer tracks do. So pretty much once they changed it to a legacy track model and got the new one on board, this one takes a back seat to any love or updates that come its way in the future. So drivers might find little niggles on the tracks where the tracks may not be quite up to play, or grip levels tend to walk away a little bit from here to here. So it's interesting to see how that gets on. Seeing an interesting wee battle taking place here between Trev Bennett and Wayne Hartnell there. So exchanging for position and pretty close battles amongst all of them. There's Christian Jenkins there right off as we know him in the other Sim Abilities vehicle, holding off John O'Gibson and Shane Newens in the Mauler Racing Commodore there, getting a good run on towards the back. And a nice healthy look down the inside of there, but not too sure whether he's going to have enough to get into it before the S is here.
Unfortunately, it looks like Race Control has lost his packets, so he's left the server.
So you mean he... no, I won't say it. I mean it jokingly. He's going to say, did he get too stressed seeing the pile up on turn 1 and he flicked the power switch off at the wall?
Yeah, he's just flicked the router straight off and walked away.
Yeah.
It's all come pretty clean now, Dougie. Everybody's sort of got into their little zone, and then they're going to have to do it all again. But of course, with a 5-minute warm-up before the next race, hopefully some of the boys get out there and do a bit of an expression session.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, that's your invite.
So Derek Lovegrove just starting up on his final lap there now. Chris Uppersitch hunting him down in second spot. Caleb Berrycroft did a good job to round up Steve earlier and has managed to stay ahead of that one. Steve just breaking traction a little bit there, coming out of turn 1. He's now back into that battle with Luke Bradley from before. Luke taking a defensive line from out wide, coming in very late towards the apex. Steve was definitely holding a lot more speed, but he had to check up rather than giving a big serve in the rear end. That's created a bit of a gap there. Daniel Johnson will be quite happy with himself sitting there in 6th spot. This man here, Shana, will be happily praising.
Sorry, mate.
Spot 7, up 18 spots from where he started, and looking like he should hopefully be able to hang on to that moving towards the end.
It's quite impressive for a man who owns a Honda.
Are you referring to the lack of power that the Mustang has and compared to the Honda?
Well, I mean, the Honda could be Charlotte's. You know, is she a hairdresser? There's questions that I need to ask.
Well, hopefully,
owns he a hairdresser? Is that why he owns a Honda? I'm not sure.
I don't know. These are all very good questions.
I'm sure they're going to get answered.
Shana could feel free to jump onto the Broadcasting Lounge live chat and give us all the updates and goss on that one. So Derek Lovegrove finished that race in first. Well done. He's had been able to stretch those legs over Chris Uppich quite nicely. We'll see how the second race plays out between those two. Caleb Beecroft in third with Luke Bradley in fourth. Steve Darren holding on to spot number 5, only down one from where he started. Daniel Johnson there in 6th with Stonesy in 7th. Dan Turner, Simability Drive there in 8th. Cole Taylor up a couple to P9, and Quinn Wilson, the man who was looking for the hot setup at the start of the race, up 13 spots into P10. You can see why he's having some celebration time, because that's a good charge forward, and certainly one name to be keeping an eye on as we move into our feature race moving up very shortly.
Right, everyone. Good fun.
So that was the top 10. Still got a few cars cycling the track, I think. No, everyone has crossed the finish line.
But the lads will have a 5-minute warm up, so they can either come out on track and press the broadcast, or they can go and do a wee tinkle, or get a glass of water, or get another beer out of the fridge.
Nice. It all sounds like good stuff to me.
I reckon SuperCars NZ needs to come up with an infomercial or something to play in this warm up. Sell a hat, a mug.
Yeah, get our old merch sign up and show the peoples at home what things we've got going on.
You need to get a hold of Suzanne Paul, maybe.
We do have some merchandise, and there is a sheet on our community page that you can find that has a link to the ordering form on that one. So we've got our regular shirts, t-shirts, jerseys and hoodies, caps, things going on, and I believe we've also got our new one out, which is for some mugs, stubby coolers, and some other wee bits and pieces. All that one will be out very soon. So at the moment, there's only one man who's gone for a wee tutu out on the track, and that's Dylan Radford.
I did try and antagonise some people in the chat. So we'll see if anybody takes the bait.
Yeah. Just tuning in with what we've got on the live chat at the moment from Jason Upton there, saying good evening to all and g'day, and he's not racing tonight as his baby girl was born on Saturday, and big congratulations to you on that one, Jace. We did see some awesome photos through of that you guys are now back home and safe and sound through the PSR chat. It's very awesome. And Scott Pickering saying that the race so far has been more exciting than Bathurst.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch a lot of Bathurst. Having a 5-year-old sort of takes that away, I guess, until he gets excited about it, hopefully, down the track.
Yep. I managed to get. I was on night shift, so I caught up with it in the afternoon. Managed to get the last of it out of the way pretty early on. But yeah, there was it was certainly a different year, not just because of the vehicles that they had out there, but a number of changes, like the lack of compulsory pit stops, and other bits and pieces that they'd done, obviously trying to look after the car after it's been showing some oddities throughout the year. And yeah, there was some good racing from time to time, but I think the majority of that we saw was people struggling through the braking points, and the car spending a bit more time sort of off the track than on it compared to normal, and obviously having rubs and scuffs and bangs with the walls that was resulting in more cars getting wheeled into the garages for some tune-ups and replacement parts being thrown at them. I think the biggest one that I was I suppose upset to see that was happening to a couple of teams was the mountings for the shifter were breaking or tearing away from the floor itself. So when they're trying to downshift into those big braking zones and the whole gear lever moves forward and it's not going down the gears, I know from racing only in the simulator here, but if you don't use the engine brake just as much as the brakes you're using, the car doesn't really want to stop.
No, you're right, there was some pretty shoddy looking mountings, to be honest, from what I've seen. So, yeah, you'd hope SuperCars will get it right by next year, or they might lose a few fans.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what moving forward looks like, and I think a lot of the other comments as well was that the Super 2 racing was some of the best racing of the weekend, and the guys were out there racing the same type of cars that you see on screen at the moment, which is the previous Gen 2 model. So yeah, there's a lot to be said. There's still a lot of things that they need to balance out and get right. Be interesting to see if they continue to tweak or whether they start looking at a bit more of another ground up rebuild, like Gen 3.5 or something.
Good luck, everyone.
So
Good luck, mate.
there they are, all lined up, ready to go.
There's a live race control if you want it.
20 seconds before we have lights popping up on the screen.
Well, can you just give me the win then, live race control?
Well, if you want, I could just give you penalties. Like, I'm pretty easy.
Yeah, no. You can penalise everyone from 14 and below.
Rightio.
Just give us all a wave around.
Light towers up.
Is that a wave
Engine
around
revs
or
are
a
building.
Green flag, green flag.
And we're away. Down into turn one. And there's a big one. Got it. Caught it on screen for you.
Quite a few cars involved in that.
And more of it out the other end. So the start of the first race. Oh, big one here for a leader, Derek Lovegrove. He's been pushed aside. And Caleb Recroft has moved into spot number one. We'll have a look back at that in a minute. Steve Darren under early attack from Luke Bradley, who has super sent that corner. It's allowed Steve to essentially move into P1. No, Stonesy's got it on the outside. No, Steve's reclaimed it. defending Caleb Beecroft coming down into the chicane. Steve out wide. Not going to find much grip there. Done just enough to hang on. Cole Taylor getting up and involved into this battle. He has Dan Turner just in behind him as well. What an opening first lap that has been.
Steve now, he's got his ears pinned back. He's trying to get away from Stonesy and the rest of the pack following behind him as well. We've also had another off a wee bit back. A couple of cars have gone off again.
Yeah, it's he's got lots of crash data up on the old ticker there. Just trying to see if I can work out where the start was. It's around there. While the battle's happening here at the front, we'll probably just keep an eye on this for a little bit longer. And if Steve was a man who looked in his mirrors, that's what he'd see at the moment.
Stonesy's got a bit of a run on him here up the straight.
Steve's done well there, holding it out on the outside, which leads to an inside corner there.
Almost
Jared.
a replay of the last lap as well.
It is. What has happened though is Cole's moved in front of Luke Bradley. As they have some more tickles there. Luke actually redressing that, so it's starting to get a bit heated. Shane Ewens and Nico Skulls back there in 10th and 11th battling it out tightly as well. And we have Andrew Johnson following Andrew Upton there.
Wayne Hartnell, car 33, has been issued a drive-through from race control.
Yes, so that one there was part of the beginnings of this here, which unfolded at the start. Lack of turn and just caught tripping over lots of other cars there. And then flow-on effect from that was some other cars coming back onto the track and getting caught up in some mischief.
Yeah, Jonathan Turner's night sort of getting a little stumble there, so hopefully he gets into the pits and gets back out on track.
There's another one that was a little bit earlier on between Daniel Johnson and Chris Zuppich there. There's three team cars all get scuffed up at the same rate from one another. And I'm just trying to find where we had to live racing. What happened to our race leader there from the beginning, Derek Lovegrove?
Yeah, he's back in 12th, so he's down 11 positions.
So, looks like Derek went off track. That's a lot earlier on, so maybe this one here will show us. Just back at the race start. So just side by side there with Chris Zuppich as you see the other cars pile off in the background, and just a bit of a walking to between those guys. Hard battle. Oh, yeah, that's
The tandem symmetrical spin out.
it was.
Derek's done well to hang on to that and keep going. Caleb Beecroft now is up and he's got a 1.5 second gap back to Steve Darren. Stonesy still in that Playboy car is right on Steve's butt. He's been in those mirrors for a couple of laps now. Heap of the wee tour across the grass, so Stonesy makes up a position there. Steve now under pressure from Cole Taylor and Luke Bradley as well.
Steve may have caught a wee bit of a slowdown from that tour across the grass as well. Oh no. The drama continues to unfold. A bit of door-to-door action there with Cole Taylor, who's now come into the pits. Resulted in a significant wee bump off the track for Steve, who's also come into the pits now as well. So we're going to be looking at a 10-lap charge through to the end of that race. Looking at some other cars that have already pitted is Derek Lovegrove. So he was in spot number 1 there at the beginning of the race. Trent Bennett there, another Misfits car. He's down 11 spots there. He was caught up in that earlier, that drama as well after turn 1. Chris was alongside Derek when it all unfolded, did well to hold on to his car, and then had some other drama after that. And then John Lee has just been ticking on by, sitting not too badly back there. And Wayne Hartnell now a little bit further afield, about a minute down towards the back of the pack after having served his drive-through or pit lane penalty there earlier.
Team West Racing, that's the name that I think they might have entered the Enduro for Mental Health actually.
Yes, I remember seeing something along those lines.
Caleb Beecroft, he's opening up a bit of a lead now. So it's up over 2.5 seconds, approaching 3 seconds over Stonesy.
Yeah, as he's just comes around to start another lap, we can even have a quick wee look on board with him and see what a lap looks like.
Wee bit wide there.
It's the commentator's curse at it again, isn't it?
Now it wouldn't be right if it didn't happen.
See just how much the wheel is constantly moving around. It's an indication of the balance of the vehicle on track. That's last had an update probably about three years ago. I think they legasied it. Maybe
Yeah, so it was just before COVID, the new Silverstone come out. And that's what, 2020, so yeah, about 3 years ago. It was right when I got, so at the end of 2019 is when I got back into a bit of sim racing.
Yeah.
I was going with one of the tracks. I remember buying right back then at the start.
Yep. Likewise. I remember I've done many laps around this particular layout of Silverstone that it actually makes it really hard for my brain to compute. Even now, running on the new layout.
Yes, so this one sort of would have been one of those ones sticking in the mind, going back to the Tokatory car days, or
Yes.
even the F1, early F1 games as well.
Yep. Right through the Project Cars and Grid on PlayStation as well. It's a track that's been around for many moons and has been seen through many different platforms across its years. So Caleb just looks like he's hurting himself a little bit as far as the timescale goes, because Jared's been able to close that margin down by nearly a whole second. What was a 2.4 gap before is now 1.2. Just creeping a bit further down the line. A couple more drivers coming through the pit lane. Man, we haven't touched on tonight just yet. Rob Higgins. Always enjoy looking at the livery that Rob chooses for his vehicles. Just a shame he puts them on the wrong car.
I get the feeling that you're not a Ford man. Like, personally, I wouldn't hold that against you, because I don't really discriminate between any of them, to be fair. Like, I never brought into that Ford versus Holden stuff. I never really did mind. But when the Mustang turned up, I've always been a Mustang fan.
I like the Mustang. I think they brutalised it a wee bit to make it work. The new one is certainly better.
Another couple of cars here. Looks to be Daniel Johnston's got into some mischief with one of the simability cars.
Yep. I enjoy racing. That's about what it boils down to, and I'll certainly support New Zealand drivers over Australian ones. I really enjoyed the racing of yesteryear between McLaughlin and Van Gisbergen. Those guys were battling it out for top honours. Two drivers willing to stick it to each other at any given time when they were faced for it on track. So moving to the new form of racing has been a little bit more boring. They said they were going to produce a car for us that was going to generate more passing and racing opportunities, and that's sort of been a fall away. They tend to be a car that's probably great for a one qualifying lap, and it's probably good for about two laps after that, and then it just seems that the drivers are more worried about making sure that the thing doesn't break, or that the tyres don't completely fall away from being able to get to the end of the race without them dying. I think case in point why people said that some of the best racing they saw from Bathurst weekend was between the Super 2 group running in the previous gen Supercar V8.
I reckon some of that GT86 racing was pretty fierce. You know, three cars wide around some of those corners was pretty good to look at.
And even coming down through the hill, some of the times those guys were trying to look at going three wide, and you could hear the commentators almost climbing through the camera to willing them to stop.
There's a couple of cars in the field still yet to make the compulsory pit stop. So our current leader, Quinn Wilson, is one of those, as well as Dylan Radford. Yeah,
so Quinn there. You won't be too far away from Dylan Radford there, running the ultralight Mustang.
A few body parts missing.
Yep, it's ultralight.
Seems to be lacking a little bit of aero.
is getting a bit of a charge on from Luke Bradley behind him. Derek Lovegrove has had quite a significant recovery, now finds himself up into P5. So that's certainly a recovery from where we caught him last after his pit stop, sitting back down there on in 22nd position.
Yeah, but it looks like he's gone into the pits pretty much straight after that. It's got his pit stop out of the way and maybe had a bit of clear air and made up quite a bit of time.
Yep.
Ben Trennett, isn't it?
Yep, that's Ben Trennett, yep.
It's slowly picking up in some of these big days for some of the drivers.
Yeah, Ben Trennett is a thank you from Leon Weir. So it still gets picked up by some of the originals that heard that when they catch back up with us again on the live stream. So we do our best to try and remember those ones. That gives us a rib tickler from times gone by. But Trent has a little whack there from the commentator's curse. He just had a big serve up there before. That was from Nico Scholes. Maybe? No. Disability car. Maybe that was damaged. Must have been Rockoff Jenkins involved in that one, so. Bit unlucky. It's a bit hard to read on my account. Hopefully being upstairs doing the race control can go back and have an input on that one.
Yeah, it's always good to have a biased opinion, I suppose, an unbiased opinion, I should say.
Yep. How's this battle for P1 spicing up?
Very spicy between the two current brands in the SuperCars NZ VA Championship.
That is probably one of the hardest corners on track to get right. It is a long time waiting before you can get back onto the throttle for that one. And it irks you so much because you think that you're waiting longer the next time when you got it wrong the previous time. You get back onto the gas again just to find yourself getting pulled way out wide and sucked across onto the over onto the grass and the sand.
Caleb Beecroft and the Allports Gaming Commodore currently are in front with Stonesy right up behind him. So the last sort of 4 laps of this race are going to be all told, Dougie.
Well, indeed.
Wee bit of a gap back there to Luke Bradley. So these two guys on the front, it's up to them to see which step of the podium they're going to end up on, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. And hopefully for them it's still somewhere around that P1 and 2, because yes, Luke is 4.5 seconds adrift from that, but he would happily walk up there into P1. And if the disaster is big enough, you've also got Quinn Wilson with Derek Lovegrove there in 4th and 5th, ready to jump on that as well. So from Derek up to P1 there's a 11 second gap, but Stonesy's still putting on the hurt. Lap 11 currently of 15.
I reckon he's out there throwing sticky Playboy pages at him.
Trying his best to cut down the aerodynamicness of that Commodore. Have a bit of a view from here and we'll see some different line choices taken. So sort himself out there again, but he'll have the lead in, so Stone's would have been better to have pulled in a little bit sooner than that. Gone for the more traditional line. Holding it close through Mackett's and Beckett's there, so you can get the draft run downward for the straightaway section here. You don't often opt for the overlap after turn 1 because it does narrow in a lot. And you can see with Jared's pace, he's already knocked that half-second gap down again to just over the 200s, as Caleb has a wee lock up there on the rear. This is also another corner you want to be patient on because you can walk out wide there, which very quickly goes from concrete to grass, and they've timed that really well.
Both these guys have had it on lap 7, I think, by the look of it. So their tyres are going to be reasonably close to each other, depending on their setup, I suppose, as well.
Here we are, coming back into the final corner now. Well, wait until we get back on the gas again. See what Jared can do coming into lap 13 now.
Down the field, a couple of drivers there up in the double digits with increases. So Tim Volk, he's up 13 spots. We've got Nico Skulls up well, and Bill Kilgore, who's SuperCars NZ favourite. He's up 10 spots, and he's sitting in the top 10 currently.
So Steve's actually just managed to get by Tim Volk there. Is up to with 12 spots to his name. Nico Skulls there, P9, up 12, and there is Bill Kilgore up 10 for 10. So nice run from those guys. Jenkins up towards the back of Bill there. Run down here. Is he able to do enough to bring it up though? To hold and check up a little bit more, else he's going to glide wide into where Bill's racing room was. He's done nicely to avoid doing that.
You wouldn't want to barge into Bill's racing room uninvited, I reckon.
No. Been there, felt that wrath.
Yeah, you've been called a name.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a name.
That's enough. That's all we need to know.
It was very early on in the SuperCars time schedule for me, and admittedly I was getting quite frustrated by Bill's ability to park it in the middle of the track and have the widest car out there of anyone else.
Yes.
And I thought enough had been enough, and I was due time to be able to go by, and Bill stuck out his hand and said, "Not yet, son," to which didn't work well for either of us.
Well, we got right off Jenkins with another little bit of a mistake there by the looks of it.
Yeah, saw he's picked up quite a bit of damage there. Saw him fall down just behind Bill's name. Shows that he went off track. Oh, so he's actually had a touch from the section here.
Yeah, 101.
And then that's the big one. That's a big serving there. That's not the way he'd want his race to be going. 14 to 15. Is Jared going to be able to do it?
I mean, he could have been waiting until the last lap, for that run out of that last corner.
Yep.
He's in the best place for it.
certainly putting on the squeeze now, knowing that he's going to be coming up into the final lap. Jared's
Big
in
thanks
a
to
really good position here now. If he can keep it off the grass on the corner exit here. Keep in behind him, don't get the overlap. Follow the traditional line through. Starting the run.
Keeping a little bit more momentum through those chicanes than Stonesy. He's lost a little bit of ground, but where he makes it up, there's nothing to break. He seems to be getting right up there on the brakes.
He's got a lot of confidence in them.
By getting him stopped, he hasn't done the Di Pasquale and taken anyone out yet.
Caleb a bit defensive there, as you would be when you're holding on to spot number one. All in all, a great battle between these two guys.
To go for Stonesy to get it up there. Still going to be how long we're waiting.
Yep. As long as Caleb doesn't try and get on the gas too soon here and run it wide. Managed that really well. Great run up to the finish line and done a superb job to hold on to that lead for that long. Stonesy there in second spot, well driven, and hopefully got some good learnings from that. Luke Bradley across the line in third. Quinn Wilson doing a good job moving up from spot 10 to finish there in fourth. Derek Lovegrove with a nice recovery after his early drama to finish spot 5. Steve Darren, P6, only down 1 again. Tim Walk, pretty amazing drive there, up 12, finishing 7th. Dan Turner holding his 8th to finish 8th. Nico Scholes there into the top 10, up 12. Bill finishing there in 10. So a great run from everyone. Celebratory donuts. It's all taking place once again. Big thanks to Steve Darren, this week's race sponsor SDI, and a massive thank you to All Ports Motorsport for this series sponsorship and allowing us to have what is one of SuperCars' biggest prize dividends to be given away at the end of this season, along with a very significant one-off large random prize, cash prize for one lucky person at the end of the season.
How do you become eligible for that?
Yeah, so some T's and C's around that. Triple E was all written on the posters that the drivers have to have completed 90%. A registered driver has to have completed 90% of that series that they've competed in, and all of those that are eligible at the end that have done that will be put forward for the random wheel, and we will filter our way through that, and one lucky person will be announced for the V8s, one will be announced for the GT3s, and I think that's it. There might be one other, but I can't be 100% sure. So
it sounds like some pretty cool prizes for a season of racing.
Yeah, got Dion asking which chat channel we're in, so I'll bring him upstairs quickly and see how he's fared for this evening. G'day Dion, we've dragged you up into the broadcasting lounge, mate, while we're just rounding up towards the end of this night's stream. Would you care to give the people at home a quick shout out and let them know what you were up to for us this evening?
I was literally up to nothing because there's only like one race control call, but that is all good. Other than that, I was just sitting here chilling and watching some good racing.
There was a lot of good racing, and I'm sure you were ticking through some pretty cool battles along the way as well to see if there was anything going to be untoward happening. Obviously, we saw race 1 and 2 have a similar beginnings. A lot of people crashing out on the first corner. And I believe it was only on race 2 where someone called through a bit of drama. Someone got a drive through.
Yeah, when you cause a pile up of 4 or 5 cars, you kind of just can't let that one go.
Yeah, it was a wee bit of a bit of an unfortunate one. Sort of carried a bit too much heat into turn 1 and just had no heat on the front tyres to even initiate a turn. Walked a few guys off, and then there was a few others that after getting rotated round should have probably held the brake. A few people rolling back onto the track where they shouldn't have been. So it's certainly could have been a lot more intensive for you if there were a few more people calling it through.
Yeah, 100%. Sounds like Div 1 had a good night though, from what I've already seen.
Oh, very good. So there'll be quite a bit on hand for the decision maker with people putting through their race incident reports.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That's very good. Yes, obviously we alternate week to week between the two championships. We just covered Div 1 last week, and there was certainly some exemplary driving taking place and some heated moments at that as well, on a very unfamiliar English track for the V8 cars to be going around. Tonight we were here at Silverstone on the Legacy layout. How did you find your laps during practice though, Dion, compared to one of the more some of the newer tracks, or the ones that we're still using as part of the base set from iRacing?
I actually prefer this layout than the new layout. This layout's actually a lot nicer. But some of those older layouts I find a lot nicer, as is. I know it sounds weird, but I feel like there's more grip on the tracks than the newer layouts.
Yep. No, I know what you mean. I was saying to Corey during towards the start of the stream that we're on obviously a Legacy track tonight, and it's a track that I've spent many a times going around in the GT3 cars and some of the Legacy V8s, and always had great times, great battles, great racing through there. And for the life of me, I tend to now struggle with the new GP circuit. So it was quite cool to have a bit of a flashback to the old, and I wouldn't mind iRacing putting a few more on for us, doing that, bringing back a few of the Legacy tracks.
Agreed.
Oh.
Agreed.
There we go. Oh, well, there we go. So that was your first quick wee taster at doing some race control for the Div 2 series. Is that going to be a bit of a thing moving forward, is it?
Depends if they need it. To me, by the looks of it, they don't really need it. It sounds really bad because I race in Div 1 most of the time, but compared to Div 1, I think that needs a sorting out rather than Div 2, to be 100% honest.
Yep. You would have probably caught a bit of chatter from the guys tonight. The Div 2 guys, nothing really seems overly malicious. They are trying their best for racing and putting on moves, but if it doesn't work, they're pretty quick to apologise and redress that themselves. And there is a very sort of quite a heavy sense of guilt for ruining someone else's race.
Yeah, correct.
So.
Yeah, they normally either readdress like a couple of the boys did, or they're straight away on the mic saying sorry. But I guess when you're in Div 1, it's more like just carry on and suck it up, buttercup sort of situation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the bit of the mentality as well, which Sean had discussed previously in the past. he said, racing incidents will happen. Don't commit yourself to assuming that someone else has wronged you or that you may have been the person to have done the wrong. Finish the race, review it yourself, and if there seems to be anything untoward, then it can be reported forward, and someone else can, give you the answer around it. Because what people were finding was that they were putting their hand up and saying, "Oh, that was my fault," but it was actually the vice versa. It was the other car that hadn't given them enough room and had bumped into them and things like that, or people going off a bit too soon before they realised that, oh, it was actually me. I missed my braking marker and fed that guy on the door. So
Yeah, correct. I'm guilty of probably I'm guilty of definitely hitting a few people from the past, and then obviously um, you think it's them, and then you kind of, it sounds bad, but you get on the mic, you blow up, and then you look at it afterwards, and you're like, actually, that was my fault, and then you make yourself look like a real idiot,
yeah,
and then you got to go say sorry. So
yeah,
I'm still slowly learning that it's easier to just leave it and then say sorry.
yeah.
But it's better not to blow up on the mic and look at it properly before you blow up.
Correct, yes. And we've already had a couple of people this season in the Div 1 Championship that had some words towards each other that received a communications ban from being able to talk for a week. And there's a slightly heavier look towards penalties this season over ones in the past, trying to make people a bit more accountable for their actions and just giving people that awareness to think twice before making any action. It seems to be working okay. Still a few people that could do with a bit of a tightening on the reins, but this is racing. It's a competitive sport. If you're not out there to get P1, then it's sort of your motive is why are you there racing in the first place? We all want to be the winner at the end of the day. So, and as you said, Dion, we make mistakes, and it's good to hear from someone from the Div 1 side of things that's having some good self-reflection and realising that a lot of it can be sorted out after the race.
Yeah, there's a lot you can avoid also. Just self-preservation, pretty much.
That's it. So it's been good. I hope you enjoyed your wee stint tonight, and if we do see you back here again for some more Div 2 action, we'll feel free to bring you up in here in the lounge with us, and you can give us the info as it falls down. Other than that, this has been round 4 of our championship this evening for the All Ports Motorsport V8s with the SuperCars NZ. That was the Div 2. Wednesday night we have our LMP3s under MRP, and on Thursday night we have the GT3s taking place under that championship with MRP as well. We have got the LMP3s heading off to Road Atlanta tomorrow night, and the GT3s will be heading to Laguna Seca. So a couple of cool tracks to see there. I'm not too sure whether or not there'll be a stream tomorrow night. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but there definitely will be one on Thursday night with Wayne and Sean. So feel free to tune into those guys from just before 8:30. This has been Doug in the Broadcasting Lounge with Corey. Thank you very much, Corey, for coming along and helping out again tonight. And you never know, maybe next week it'll be you and Shane doing the lounge by yourself, and I'll take a night off.
Hey, you've got to put your feet up, Dougie. You've done a fantastic job, and thanks for having me along.
It's always good. I enjoy coming along and doing this. Certainly passionate about it. Thank you to all our sponsors and to the racers and the viewers at home. Good night.